There are two more things in Lloyd Webber's musical I would like to draw your attention to, especially. The first is the use of the leitmotifs. This is, I would say, a quintessential element of Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical style. If you listen to the score of the Phantom, you will notice that certain motives and many motives throughout the entire show, they are repeated. So fragments of the songs or even just musical phrases are repeated over and over. And I would say Andrew Lloyd Webber does it very often in his musicals, but in this one, this is probably the musical in which he does it most uh, the best, most adeptly, and those little musical fragments interweaving, they actually convey meaning. They allude to different moments in the story, to, I don't know, reminiscences of the past, to different emotional states, and sometimes the words are not repeated, but the meaning is conveyed through the musical tune itself. So if you listen to those fragments, pay attention to those leitmotifs, to the repeating musical motif. The other thing, or perhaps there are two more things. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to is in what way this is a tragedy. At some earlier stage, we talked about the difference between comedy and tragedy. And comedy is pro-social. Comedy lets you form or reintegrate, form the connection with the society. And I would say The Phantom of the Opera is perhaps the only or one of the very, very few musicals that do not allow that. There is not a moment of reintegration. And if you watched the Royal Albert Hall Gala with Ramin Karimlu and Sierra Bogas, after the show ends, there is a moment of celebration. There are some actors, including Michael Crawford, who come to the stage, and Andrew Lloyd Webber comes to the stage, and he talks to some people who are involved in the production of the musical, and in a very similar gala for Les Miserables, everybody, including the audience, started to sing "Do You Hear the People Sing," and it suddenly turned out there is no such moment in the entire spectacle, in the entire show of The Phantom of the Opera that could be used in this capacity. Uh, there are group scenes, the main one, of course, being Masquerade, the great ball scene, but it's so antisocial. It's just the critique of the society in which everybody, not only the Phantom, wears the mask. Because everybody is a hypocrite. Everybody pretends to be someone they are not. So they tried, and I think this was the spookiest moment in this gala. They tried to sing something together, and it was creepy. It was absolutely creepy because you would have those different phantoms singing together to Christine, Sarah Brightman Christine. So for me, this was like the proof that this is the ultimate tragedy. This is the show about loneliness, about alienation, about a person who does not fit into any group. So they can inspire people through their art, but they will never fit into the crowd. So this is something to draw your attention to, and this leads me to the last thing, that I think that what makes this musical so good is that it's so flexible. It's so much based on the nuances. And actually, you might say it's a sung through musical. So almost everything is set in the lyrics and in the music. And there is not enough room for the actors to play it out. I would disagree. I think everything here um, rests on the actor's skill. And definitely the three main characters, the central triangle, it's all based on the nuance. So Raoul could be the nice, emotionally engaged young lover who wants to protect Christine, or he may be an egoist who doesn't care for her, who wants her to cure his trauma, in fact. And who bullies her, who uses her as a bait to catch his opponent, who is just engaged in a duel with the Phantom and doesn't care about Christine at all. And Christine herself should be just conflicted and traumatized and very young and naive. Or she should be scheming, or perhaps she should be really afraid of the Phantom and she just wants out. She is the victim. And it all really depends on the actress who plays her. And of course, central character, the Phantom himself. He could be anything. He could be scary, he could be mad, he could be traumatized, he could be a psychopath or a sociopath, and all the things in between. And I will give you the link to one of my favorite moments in the show. The moment when everything really depends on the actor. Because this is not a sung moment. In the last scene, in the finale, when the Phantom says, not sings, to Christine, just two short phrases. You try my patience. Make your choice. And I hope I'll find this link because somebody on YouTube made a comparison of many actors in the role of the Phantom doing this little fragment, and you will see how different these renditions are. And sometimes these lines are shouted, sometimes these lines are scary, sometimes they are almost like he's weeping. So, how would you, before you listen to different actors doing this fragment, how would you play this role? If you were the director, and how would you instruct the actor playing the Phantom to deal with this scene? How should he say it? Because this is a very rare moment when he is not prompted by the music. So I leave you at that, and we'll talk about the last thing, so the film and the sequel and other horrors in the last installment.